Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 13th, 2025 at approximately 9:05 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's purpose to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every decision I make by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people over the years with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, this said, we are here to look at health, a new perspective today. Before we get into that, a couple of things that have to come to light because of current events. And rest assured, I usually ignore current events. Usually, I personally find them tedious, short-sighted, and very ill thought out. This said, we cannot avoid this at this point. So before I lay down the ground rules on that side of it, I want to say thank you so very much to Storm for doing all the work he does. He is literally the primary moderator and keeps all of this technological stuff going. Heads up, guys. With the fiasco that's happening in the local political scene, Storm has been told anybody, and I don't care who it is, okay, anybody starts speaking about any specific politician anywhere in the world will get bounced. You'll still be able to hear from what I gather, but you will be out of the chat room. I'm not putting up with it. Okay. Same goes for which political party is a better one in any country. I don't care what the country is, because simply put, every single one of you is a politician. You may not believe it. We are going to focus on mental health today because so many of you are caught right now in a tailspin. Okay. And you're looking at it going, what do I do? Well, sad to say, whatever country you're in, whatever political party you believe in, whatever governmental type you use, I've looked at them the world over. In my case, and you can believe this one or not, in my case, I've watched it for thousands of years. Now, bear in mind, I'm talking past lives as well. Here's the thing. Politicians, people around the world are essentially the same. Operation Shutdown, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And I guess before I go any further down that rabbit hole, Renee, you are in with the gold. Okay, this puts Operation Shutdown in with the silver. Now, the reality is there have been things set in motion, okay, that there is no way to currently stop, but we can mitigate the damage, okay, but it's up to you guys. Now, looking at health, and this is just a blanket, if you are currently on medication, okay, and I mean medication that is actual clinical medication. I'm not talking about, are you going to some backwoods barber or something? If you're under the treatment of a doctor and it's working for you, stay on it. The tools I'm talking about are the ones to work in addition to what you're working with. Now, the political arena is real simple. It has got everybody worried. Some of the most peaceful people I know of are in one step shy of panic mode because of some of the shenanigans that people are talking about. Now, let me put it to you this way. Very important little factor. We're told, first of all, depression you need medication for. If you're on it, stay on it. Okay. Now, myself, I've got my own viewpoint. I'm not going to go into my own outlook on it. I will tell you this. You desire to break yourself out of depression. Okay. Whatever you're doing right now, if it's working, stay with it, even if all it's doing is keeping things under control. First rule of thumb, and I know this is going to sound like an absolutely bizarre idea. News channels across the board. I don't care whether it's a radio station, a video station, a TV, internet, it doesn't matter. If it is news and they are talking politics, yes, I'm going to tell you, keep yourself relatively in the dark. It's a nightmare out there. Okay. And the biggest concern is not what they're talking about, it's what they're doing while they're talking about something else. Now, that's just my own outlook on it. Okay. I've got no functional background to work with. I found out about the fiasco that is going on in North America because I talk to people. It's a weird thing. I don't turn to the TV and go, let's hear what they've already written and telling me to believe. I go to the people and go, hey, what's up? Okay, that said, we are not going there tonight. And I will warn you, on Friday, that's a whole different ballgame. Okay, on Friday, we will simply bounce people because I'm just not going into picking sides. Okay, I have one side in mental health that I pay attention to. And this is going to sound really bad. Mine. If you're on medication, okay, stay on it. It is likely why you're feeling better. That said, find the fastest paced dance music you can possibly discover. Blue Cruz, how you doing? You are in with the bronze. Find the fastest dance paced music you can find. Doesn't matter if if it's got words, but find it, crank it as high as loud as socially acceptable. Don't go breaking city bylaw. Okay, don't drive yourself deaf. And for those of you that have this brilliant idea that putting your headsets on and cranking the music is a good idea, it's a fantastic idea if you'd like to be deaf. It's an absolutely fantastic idea if you desire to be deaf. The reason you don't put the headset on is because it traps the music and punches a hole. It will damage your eardrum. And I'll tell you, if you're feeling frustrated now, wait until you can't hear anything. Now, it may not matter right now, but when you get to be my age, because I don't wear headsets, I've tried them a few times, I don't wear them. And I still hear on the subquantum level. And I know this because I had it tested. By the way, it annoys me on occasion. But that is number one. Number two, and I've said this so many times, when you listen to anything of a negative nature, listen to, hear, read about, watch, doesn't matter. You see one thing, watch two others. Okay, in other words, double the ratio of positive things. Now, yes, I could go into a very, very dark place with this with this stream. There's a lot of negative things I see. But let me ask you this. All this garbage is being propagated all over the world. And I call it garbage because, let's face it, for every stupid move some human makes, whether they are just a normal person or they're sitting in a political arena, for every stupid move somebody makes, there are at least 9 others going on at exactly the same point in time of a positive nature. Yeah, and that's just it, LA. This is why I say, if you're using hearing aids, absolutely stay using them. Okay, because I don't know about you, I've tried being deaf, and I wasn't overly impressed. But I will tell you, and you and I are going to have to discuss this because there is something that can be done, okay, in conjunction with what you're doing. But again, you're using hearing aids, absolutely keep using them. We will have to discuss just exactly how you can modify that. Okay, and again, nobody has to believe me. That's the nice part. See, we were all given free will freedom, free will and freedom of choice. What nobody was given was freedom from consequence. I can't read the screen here. My eyes are in not bad shape, but yeah, LA goes, it has nothing to recommend. Yeah, it has nothing to recommend it. No, it really doesn't. By the way, LA, and I'll explain this because some people will be listening later. Okay. I know you know how to work with energy. Even if you don't, take both hands, okay, put them over top of your ears, and literally you feel the excess energy running between your hands and your ear. Literally, while you've got your hands up there, focus on that one single word, heal. Now, you don't have to believe it works. You don't have to believe gravity works. One short trip down a staircase will tell you it works like a charm. But by directing the energy through your hands, you can literally repair the damage. Now, I know the doctors have said this is not possible. And I will defer to the doctors where it comes to operation. When I snapped my arm, absolutely, I went to a doctor. But do not buy into anything that tells you you can't repair the body. Your body can do it. Mental health is a matter of surrounding yourself with things that make you feel better. Okay, one of the best things I ever came across on video on Facebook or YouTube. Find yourself a laugh track of children, and I mean literally your little the still in arms kids. Their laughter is infectious and will help bring your energy levels up. The difficult part of all of this is I'm looking at what the world is going through right now, and you have a choice. You can continue listening to whatever politician you desire to. Listen to the teachers that tell you you can't learn. You're just useless. You can't learn. Nothing you do will amount to anything. Time to look in the mirror. That person you see in the mirror, that's the one you got to start paying attention to. Okay. Now, I would recommend you mark these down, and I'm in the middle of putting these together. I'll have a short version of it out in the very near future. Okay. And I know this for a fact because now it's become critical. Now, let me just see if I've actually got the file available to me. And that just boils down to minimize that. And we go here to where is language. I actually have the baseline of this document and all I've got of this book. Okay. So it will be going on the market as soon as I get it completed. But clearly, we've got to change our thinking. Okay, that starts with linguistics. Well, it starts with this. When you look at the world, do you like what you're seeing in the world? That's the first thing you have to look at. Is are you content with what you're seeing go on in your life right now? If the answer is yes, put it. Oh, perfect, LA. The neat part about it, like I have to wear my glasses still to read that size printing on my monitor right now. But when I'm writing now on the big screen, I don't wear my glasses anymore. Okay. But here's the thing. Okay. First and foremost, you've got to take there we go. Yeah. LA goes, I don't worry about the doctors. I do my health my way. Ken Stockley, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I think I missed somebody here. We had Renee, Operation Blue. Ken, you have come in with honorable mention. Now, here's the neat little part about it. If you keep surrounding yourself with the negative hoopla that's coming over the airwaves, that's coming through the newspapers, that's coming through radio stations, newscasters, you name it. You keep listening to that, And you're going to find it very difficult, in all likelihood, to drag yourself out of a deep blue funk. Okay? Now, I can tell you, you probably won't believe this part, but the last 2 years, I've been fighting severe depression. Yes, I talk about the positive side. Okay, and that is quite deliberate. But mental health boils down to perception, as in, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you cannot do, what you cannot control, what you should have done according to somebody else, all the things you've lost? Or are you focusing on where you are? Okay, you're where you are now. The world is in the state it's in now. And I'm telling you, what's being shoved through the airwaves right now is not only depressing, but some people are going to inevitably take the ultimate stupid step. And I call it a stupid step because I've done it in past lives. You come back with the same problem. Absolutely can. Fire away. You know, the reality of it is, I did find out, and this is a minor sidetrack for you. Okay, found out why my energy levels have been in absolute shambles. In the last week, I have eaten no red meat. I'm telling you, for me, that's a bad idea. Okay, my body literally requires it. So I've been stalking, and I've been dealing with that today. But I will tell you. Now, I got asked why I would be taking something that was chemical. I'm not even sure what methylene blue is. Hate to tell you this, Ken, but arsenic is natural. So sulfur, fluorine, and sodium, but I'm not thinking they're necessarily good for you. The reality of it is this. You know, the funny part about it is this. If you're not content with the way your life is, it is time to take charge of it. It is time to look at what you're standing on, where you are, everything that is not working well, that is not running smoothly for you, that you're not content with. It's time to alter the energy levels. And I will tell you, if you're one of these people that deliberately sits down in front of the news to listen to what is going on in the world, understand they're not telling you what's going on in the world. Talk to the people around you. Okay? Talk to the people you know. You know, I mean, I see medications all over the place for different things. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest things, and this is why I look at what the doctors are doing, if you're taking something for a situation and it feels like you're feeling better, stay on it but do what I'm talking about in addition to this. Your body will start to heal, and then the medication will start to look as an overload. If your doctor's worth anything, when they see the overload in your blood work, they'll start cutting it back for you. But start talking to the people around you. Now, I will be blunt about it. I don't get along with people very much. This is why I barely leave my house anymore. Well, you should give it back. You know, it's kind of like getting depression for Christmas there, Ken. Neat part about it. Okay, and this is just a thought, and honestly, it works. It's weird, but it works. In a case like yours, Ken, and this applies to so many people, it's insane. Go to an art store. If you can paint yourself, do it that way. But get a big picture of a sunrise. Put it in your bedroom, in your living room. A picture of a sunrise, pictures of live plants. Okay. Pictures, images the figurines of it, all of them work. Well, I appreciate that, Ken. I could talk about the negative thing. The negative thing right now is literally, I saw this coming years ago and told people, well, here we are. And I don't like being the one to say, I told you so. Okay. But now, since that's already occurred and we can't stop it from happening, we can turn it around. One of the biggest strains that people have with mental health right now is the economy. Absolutely it is. Regardless of the political system you're in, regardless of who your political leader is, get in touch with them and start as a nation, as a community, start asking them to bring manufacturing back to your own country. Your economy will boom. Okay, you keep buying things that are made elsewhere. Now, quite often you'll have to. Okay, you really will. Because I'll tell you, you don't want electronics built by Amish people. I don't have anything against Amish people. I love their lifestyle. But I'll tell you, they're not good with electronics. At least not until you get them out of there and teach them. But the whole thing about society is, let's get it done in a hurry. Now, there are things that you have to import. Like, can you picture me trying to get coffee in Canada without importing it? We don't grow coffee beans here. Okay, we just don't. Now, I hear the people in this chat room are phenomenal for the amount of people that come in and support each other. I love it. Okay. It's funny, I'm looking right now. We started on, well, we've got 4 in the room right now. Now, the thing is, you desire your mental health to grow. Okay. Not like I said, there's a couple of tools there. Okay. But the other thing to do, put a smile on your face. Okay. Quite frankly, it is one of those pandemics that I would love to see happen. And you are right. I don't put a whole lot of smile on my own face. But then again, I am quite content the way I am. Yeah, Operation Shot. Yeah. The Amish are, I've talked to Amish. They're wonderful people. Okay. And yeah, LA goes, people want community most of the time. You desire your community to be closer, to have less crime. Get to know your neighbors. Okay. Get to talk to them. Yeah, I tried that, Ken. And here's the fine. Ken's going, you need to get better to an earlier time. I'd love to. Problem. It didn't work that well. I wasn't getting a lot of response anyway to start with. And the reality of it is that there were all kinds of complications that went with it. I will be going on air throughout the day pretty quick here when I've got the time for it. But I've thought about the idea of moving back to an earlier time. Not going to happen. Not for the time being. But what we are going to do is start focusing on making. Yeah, but Ken goes, there's Amish in Kitchener. Yeah, that's about 2 days east of me. And I'm just not going there. But when we're looking at mental health, find something that gets you excited, that makes you happy, that helps you get up in the morning. Okay, very important, absolutely critical. If you surround yourself with negative news, with negative things going on, okay, it's going to get depressing. Okay, now you can either go with the actual experience, i.e., get outdoors in the sunlight. Bear in mind something most people overlook. If it's overcast, you're still getting direct sunlight. get a minimum of a half hour a day in direct sunlight. Now, if you don't want to go outdoors, or if you're one of these people that are mobily challenged, okay, if you've got mobility problems, get in front of an open door. A screen window, a screen door, you can go through no problem. Sun will come through a screen with no impediment. But open the window. Okay. Do not let the sun go through the glass, because it's literally, when you look at sunlight hitting your body is what activates the vitamin D that is already in your body. It's that vitamin D that you require, but it requires sunlight, just like plants require sunlight for photosynthesis. Okay, vitamin D is processed because of direct sunlight. Now you'll notice something, LA. LA goes, I was brought up in Kidron, Ohio, and almost all Amish are phenomenal people. The reality of this is I find a neat correlation. My understanding of the Amish, and it's my understanding of it. It's my understanding that they avoid technology for the most part, but they are genuinely and generally speaking a very happy gregarious people. Operation Shutdown is asking, Keith, do you recommend taking vitamin D if you don't get enough sunlight? Honestly, now before you take that, I neither recommend nor dismiss it. Okay, I will tell you, if you're not getting enough sunlight, put a coat on. Even if you're in the house, put a coat on. Open the window up to get direct sunlight. There is no functional reason that I know of that you can't do it unless your windows don't open. Needless to say, those people that are locked in prison, they're going to have a problem getting direct sunlight. But I personally recommend, that you put a coat on, open the window anyway. Oh, you can go ahead and deal with that, Storm. Thank you very much for the offer.
Okay, as far as vitamin D is concerned, your body most effectively utilizes vitamin D2. D3 is the more common variety you can get. And yes, generally your body, even if you're just outside for a couple of hours a day or you're driving in your car, you're getting the vitamin D you need. Only if you have an abbreviated digestive system or your body processes the compounds differently do you actually need to take a vitamin D supplement. They do tend to work better with like potassium and calcium to help to uh, benefit bone strength. But as a just a general vitamin D, unless you're not outside at all during the day, you and are never outside during the day, you really shouldn't need a vitamin D supplement because you also get vitamin D from a lot of the foods you eat as well. So that's the thing about D's. If you're going to take a supplement, take D2, not D3. There you go.
Thank you very much for that, Storm. I avoid vitamins. I've got vitamins in my house. Okay. I do have, I've got St. John's wort in my house. I've got vitamin C in my house. But I'll tell you, they're still in the same bottle I bought them in, and I still haven't gotten into most of them. But with that in mind, health is something that, the saying is you can get all the vitamins you need, all the mental stability you need that you require through the food you eat. I am not the one to talk to about nutrition. I'm still a firm believer that if it isn't moving, odds are it's still functional. This is a bad way of looking at the world. Okay, and it certainly doesn't work for most people. One of the things I will warn you about though is if you're not feeling well, okay, you know, if you're not feeling well, then what's happening is you're not getting something that your body requires. Okay, and that can be done. This is why you talk to nutritionists, and that doesn't mean they have to be clinically trained. Okay, as you just heard from Storm, and I somehow don't think he's actually trained as a doctor. Okay, but many people know more about nutrition than I do, way more than you might think. I just simply know what happens to me if I don't get certain things. You know, and one of the biggest things when it comes to mental health, and I've had to fight this my entire life, by the way. My own family thinks I'm nuts. I got to talk to them and find out why. Like, what is it that I'm talking about? I'm laying odds they think I'm nuts because of the fact that I talk about aliens and alien technology. Okay, I'm betting dollars to donuts that's where the problem is. I'm not sure that's a good idea there, Philip. Philip goes St. John's wort mixed with St. John's wort remover. Yeah, if you're going to eat the two, if you're going to take the two, you know, I'm just thinking you might not want to take any of it. But that's your call. I look at it like there are people in the deep south that like grits. Now, I'm a firm believer that you should, if you haven't tried something and it's not going to kill you outright, you should try it. Okay, so I did go out of my way. I tried grits. I'll tell you, lots of people swear by them. Lots of people I know of in the deep south swear by grits. I won't eat them again. It's one of those meals. Somebody puts it on my table. I don't care if I'm a guest. It's not getting eaten by me. I've tried it. That was enough. But find something that makes you happy. That brings that encourages you to get up in the morning. Okay, I'll tell you, since I started getting the clutter in my house cleared, my ability to function has climbed exponentially. It just tanked because I stopped eating red meat. So let's not go trying to convince me to become either vegetarian. I'm already a vegetable. Let's not try talking me into becoming vegetarian or vegan. Okay. Now I will tell you, for those of you that think diet is a great idea to go vegan, don't complain about alcoholics. Alcohol on the whole has no meat products of any form in it. And Lord knows I used to be an alcoholic. Matter of fact, you guys probably all know I've said it often enough. But it is time, and this is why I say, anybody you know, let them know we're here. Because I'm not going to get into this idea of, oh, what went wrong with the world? I would love for just once somebody to take a look at a politician and go, here's something they did that was good. Or another politician go, hey, that politician made a good move. Okay, you don't hear this. You hear this one did that wrong. That one did that wrong. I used to work in a company where everybody complained that nobody did anything. I finally got fed up with it. I looked at the one person. I said, if everybody did as little as everybody else claims they're doing, nothing would ever get done. Okay, so this hogwash that's being put out there that people can't get along is garbage. Okay, let's face it. You take a look at a human of any ethnic background, any ethnic at all, okay, or for that matter, from what I gather, you take them without their skin, which means you no longer see the color. You take a look at a skeleton. You're still seeing a human. From what I gather, bears, when you skin them, look the same way. Okay, It's time to quit looking at the surface and telling people, oh, you're bad because of this, or you're worth less because of this. Whether you are male, now I will admit, male and female process information differently. Okay, you really do. But much more importantly, you express it differently, but that's been because you've been taught to do that. You know, yeah, LA goes, vegetarian lifestyle just doesn't work for me. My ancestry in the steppes of Russia, they eat meat. Makes sense to me to eat meat. You know, I find as long as it's not moving, it's fair game. But the number of people that I've seen, yeah, Philip goes, I think I'm nuts too. You know, what we have to look at is when you do have to see the news. And I get the news, you know, I get my newscasts from the trees, the birds, the rats, the squirrels, and the people I talk to. That's where I get my information. Okay. I can't see, I don't even have cable. Okay. I don't see the point to it. But if you're focusing on the negative, you're going, it's the same thing I've always said. Energy out, energy in. Okay. And it works in reverse. If you're pulling in negative energy, if you're just pouring sewage into your drinking water, you're getting to drink sewage. Okay. It's your call what you're going to fill your brain with. I do not have the authority to tell you what you can fill your brain with and what you can't. I simply know what I'm going to fill my brain with. But watching the news, listening to newscasts, and yes, even listening to many of the UFO so-called specialists and, you know, the top dogs, the big names. So many of them, and no, I'm not giving anybody any names on this, in any of it. So many of them go, oh, I'm a UFO specialist. I'm a whistleblower, and I'm telling you all these things that are going wrong. You know what? If everything was that bad, we would have an interesting problem. Okay, number one, it has been said for literally what is it now? 100 years that we're going to get invaded by off-worlders. You know, they haven't even set foot on the ground en masse. I don't know how people keep living with this idea. Okay, and if we're going to wait for the government to straighten itself out and all of a sudden start doing what's best for the majority of people, well, how much longer do you want to wait? It's time to start talking to each other and surrounding yourself with people that go, hey, look, I got up this morning, I saw a sunflower open wide, and I watched a couple of bees collecting pollen. There's the world you should be, that I would recommend you focus on. Yeah. Philip goes, turnips and cabbage soup, maybe. I don't know. Well, you know, neat little part. I like cabbage soup. Okay. But I've got to make sure I've got my red meat. Okay. The reality of it is we have to have, if your diet is off, if you're depriving yourself of certain diets, of diet food. Okay. And when I mean diet food, I don't mean let's cut back on this. Okay. I am now. Oh, there we go. LA goes, oh, it's always flavored by pork or other meat. Yeah. And that's what we're missing. People are so caught up. And that's what I found. Like I just made, what was it, pork or beef? I think it was pork stock, right, to make my soup with. I took soup bones, boiled it down to get the stock, took the bones over to my ex's place for the dog to chew on. Guys, I don't know about you, but I don't need to eat the bones. But it's time we go back to some of the old methods. Okay, that we go back to the idea of taking care of each other. I remember in a grocery store one day, I literally was told, this one woman come up to me and she goes, hunting should be banned. People should not be allowed to hunt. Everybody should get their meat from a grocery store where no animals are killed. And now just think about that for a minute. She was absolutely on the money on part of that. Anybody know what part of that she got right? I don't hunt for one reason. I find it very difficult for me to take another life. Much more importantly, I will get lost like that. Not because I keep telling myself I will. It's because it happens. Yeah, LA, I usually put it on a slow cooker for 2 days. When I'm doing the bones. Yeah. Philip goes, I love dairy. I'd be very sad if the dairy ferry stopped visiting. Recommendation. I don't know if it's legal, so check into it. If it is legal to buy your milk directly from a farmer, do so. Okay? Absolutely do so. If you can get it directly from a farmer, if you can get your eggs directly from a farmer, it's time to start supporting the local people. Okay? Because I will tell you, we stop the farms, the grocery stores are empty. Okay? You buy from the farm, and this is what I'll be doing this year. I just have to figure out where to go to get it. But I do know a place, I just stumbled across it the other day. I do know a place that I'm going to have to stop by and see what they charge. Because there's a place that sells eggs on the side of the road. They've got a neat little farm just on the side of a road. And I've got to go by it regularly anyway. I just got to stop in and ask. But mental health boils down to this. If you're not feeling right, it's called a dis-ease. Okay? If you're on medication, stay on it. But I will tell you, most of the medications. Oh, I've been lost in the bush. I got lost in a restaurant the other day. Yeah, my taste buds never developed well. But I do like the idea of supporting people. Now, where it comes to mental health, if you've been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, schizophrenia, and any number of things, stay on the medication and with the treatment you're doing. But get one thing through your head. And I will tell you this, I'll tell this to a psychiatrist. Every dis-ease can be corrected with the right guidance. But stay on your medication. Okay? Those of you that go, oh, I got on medication, but I was feeling better, so I quit. Bad idea. Get back on it. Talk to your doctor and stay put. Okay? And if somebody out there is going, well, you threw your medication out. Of course I did. The medication they put me on, one of it gave me a major heart attack. I didn't like that, so I didn't take it anymore. The other one made me nearly blind. I didn't like that one either, so I don't take it either. That's me. Okay? But whatever the mental illness that you're dealing with, whatever you've been diagnosed with, ADD, ADHD, okay, and I've shown you this before, what to do with it. Right there. This thing, the list method. One of the books I am pushing to get done now is Believe in Your Organization and Follow Your Dreams. It details why this works. Okay, it's a question of having a plan. As the saying goes, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. You desire your life to get better. You desire your brain to come back into alignment. You desire your ability to cope, to climb. I can tell you how to do it. I'm doing it myself. Okay, this is not a question of do what I tell you. It's a question of do what I'm doing. Now, if you haven't experienced it, get off your tail feathers and give it a shot. If you're already feeling down, I'll tell you, you won't feel any worse. Not in all likelihood. The reality is, my insights come from practical experience and well over 100,000 clients over the years. Okay, this is the thing that we've got to look at. Not what any organization, any corporation says, oh, we tried this medication. Here's a neat little thing for you. Just a tiny piece of statistical work. Have you ever seen a commercial that says 4 out of 5 dentists recommend X toothpaste? Okay, if you've ever seen that kind of a commercial, here's the way that works. They say 4 out of 5. This is a fantastic number. This means 80% of the dentists they talk to recommend that specific toothpaste. Brilliant idea, except what happens if they had to ask 100 dentists to find 4 that recommended it? Okay. Now, with that in mind, you've now gone from 80% recommendation to 4% recommendation. Statistics can be utilized to tell you whatever we'd like. I'm telling you, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Philip's gone, I was lost in the woods for five minutes once. I knew the road was west. Once I knew which way was north. I just walked west until I came out on the road. That was a relief. My heart was pounding crazy. The reality is that's exactly the problem I have. I know, once I know where one of the compass points is, I know where the rest of them are. My problem is I can't figure out where they are in the first place. So I'm not the guy to take out in the woods as a guide. Unless, mind you, let's face it, a lot of people followed Moses around for 40 years in the middle of the desert. I swear he had a problem with direction as well. Yeah, you know what I always found difficult there, Philip? And I remember those ads. I always found it very difficult to understand how they could even promote smoking camel. Let's face it, that's animal cruelty. And besides that, how do you get the thing to stand still once you light it? The most, what have we got? There we go. Storm goes. Oh, what was it here? Philip says Storm goes, that's why I call it statistics instead of statistics. One can manipulate data to say whatever they want. Absolutely they can. Now, I will tell you wholeheartedly, 90% or better of the illnesses that are out there, in conjunction with what the doctors are helping you with, and the dietitians, and the counselors, in conjunction with that, 90% or better of the medication, of the illnesses, of the diseases, can be corrected. I'm living proof that you can be diagnosed with some pretty severe problems. I got diagnosed being dead. I didn't like their diagnosis, so I left. I was diagnosed diabetic. I was told I'd be going blind. I was diagnosed mentally retarded. They may be right. I'm telling you, mental illness is a real thing. Now, I will start, and it's really imperative you get this one straight, guys. Start looking for the similarities between people. Quit looking for ways to make everybody different. This idea that we have of separating everything into individuals, you keep it up, and what we're going to have is over 8 billion different genders, different mental illnesses, different mindsets, the whole 9 yards. There are similarities in between people. We are all absolutely connected. And a disease is just that. if you're filling your head with all this negative stuff, okay, you're going to experience negative outcomes. It's time to start looking at the positive ones. Absolutely critical. Now, the difficult part that we have to look at is there's so much negativity out there, you're being bombarded with it. Easiest thing in the book, okay, you're watching the news, they come on and say, hey, so-and-so's doing this stupid thing. You grab the remote. It used to be you grab the dial. Yeah, Storm goes, 9 out of 10 military fighter pilots would fly 1,000 miles to smoke a camel. Sad to say, yes. And I've got nothing against camels. I love the animals. Okay. What we have to remember is if you're going to continue bombarding your mind with negative input, you're going to experience a very negative world. Okay? An absolutely depressing one. It's up to you. Quite literally, it's up to you. Now, what we have to look at here is what are we as a society, regardless of the political leaders, regardless of the so-called industry leaders, what are we as a society going to tell them we require? The religious leaders are leading you quite consistently, and just look at the state of the world. So many people are following religious leaders and political officials into an absolutely black abyss. It is time to stand up and call them on their behaviors, on their maneuvers. You know, it's a funny thing. We talk about all the wars going on. You realize for every war, for every argument, there are dozens of positive things going on, of individuals helping individuals. Start asking for these kinds of reports. Okay, and I'll tell you, I put out a free newsletter. Okay, Positive Perspectives. If you see something of a positive nature, I don't care, in all fairness, if it's you spot somebody picking a wounded cat up and taking them to the vet. Okay, this is news that needs to start, that really must be pushed into into the light. Okay, when we take a look at sports events, it's a simple case. Somebody's got to win, certainly, but they don't have to win by more than 1 point, unless that's the way the sport is scored. Remember the idea here. Yeah, Storm goes, we refuse to follow a collar backwards cheerleader. The reality of it is this. I am certainly not perfect. But as Joe Stewart put it one day, I'm not perfect, but I am doing my best. I just absolutely refuse to look at a lot of what's going on. Not because I figure it shouldn't be said, but because I don't desire. War is destructive. Here's the thing with war. Christmas Day, if I remember my stats correctly, Christmas Day of I think it would have been 1918, in World War One, the Axis and the Allies stopped fighting. There was no ceasefire. They just all quit shooting each other, crossed no man's land, and had Christmas dinner and exchanged gifts. Now, what I never understood is why they went back across and opened fire again. Okay. I'll let you handle that one, Storm. And appreciate the 5-minute heads up. I'm a firm believer that, the way, my outlook on it, in all fairness, Philip, is when we talk about callers backwards, means they're saying one thing and doing something totally different to my way of looking at it.
Would you like me to address that?
Yeah, if you would there, Storm.
A collar backwards cheerleader. Many of the priests and the pastors, they have the black banded collar with the white insert in the front. So it looks like they're actually wearing a collar backwards, like the shirt's backwards. So that's where the collar backwards cheerleader thing comes from. You know, yay God, yay God, yay God. Yeah, that's how that is, and that's really all that means. But we've been using that since probably I was 17. So I've been using it for a few years. But
Yeah, dare to.
there you go.
Yeah, I could go down a really dark rabbit hole there. I'm not going to. But thank you so much for that, there, Storm. I do appreciate it. You know, the reality is we're under 5 minutes here. We will be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at spiritual responsibility. Okay, now there's a can of worms. Okay, but I do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again with all your friends, enemies, acquaintances. I don't care. Bring them all. It's time to come out of the blocks and start opening doors. Okay, it really is time to make it happen. I'm no longer going to sit on the sidelines, but I am going to be very cautious not to put my foot in my mouth all the way to the hip. You know, the nice little part about it is this. Okay, I will be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we look at spiritual responsibility. Okay, and now that'll be at 9 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Until then, guys, thanks so much for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate it. Until we meet again,